What's up, everybody? I'm going to go over a prep method that we used back in the 80s that I talked to Dave Palumbo about. We kind of got into a back and forth on Live With. Walt Debs and I were on Live With last week. It's going to air this week. But Dave and I went back and forth with using distilled water to pull water, okay, to do your depletion with, contest prep. And Dave's not a risk taker. Okay, I'm a risk taker. I've used distilled water. I was surrounded by guys using distilled water back in the 80s and 90s. And Dave says he never did it because of the science behind it, which if you just listen to the science behind it, you're going to be like, yeah, okay, it depletes electrolytes. It doesn't have any minerals added to it, so it's going to deplete you. It's going to throw you off balance. Why would you want to do that going into a show? It's risky. Okay. That's the science, but fuck the science. If everybody just eliminates a concept because of the science, then how the fuck are you going to learn what works and what doesn't work? What if it fucking works for you? Like it did me and shit tons of other fucking bodybuilders. It worked. Okay, so based off science alone, if you just eliminate something because of what, man, you're missing out. That's my whole take here, man. You're missing the fuck out. If you don't take risks, do it. If it doesn't work, then write it off. But if it works, you add it to your arsenal. Okay? But anyhow, there is a method to getting it to work. You can't just run distilled water going into a show and expecting to fucking nail a peak. That's not going to happen. There's a method. Here's how I was taught. 1988 by Joe Dardano. Joe Dardano, not only Joe Dardano, but John Gravani was using the same method in the 80s and in the 90s. These were all the top bodybuilders in New York. Joe owned Hercules Gym, the #1 hardcore gym in New York. John Gravani had Champions Fitness, Pure Fitness. He owned all those gyms. Also, they were Mr. New Yorks, you know, Mr. Upstate New York. They went to the Nationals, shit like that, Junior Nationals. So here we go, 1988. This was the depletion method almost everybody was fucking using. And this is how I was taught. I'm not going to go through the carbohydrate load. I'm just going to do the water depletion. This is how you do it without diuretics. I was taught no Lasix. I was taught both, with Lasix and without. I'm going to teach you the no Lasix method. Here it is. 7 days out. You drink tap water. You're just drinking tap water. It doesn't fucking matter. 7 days out, you are to add a half a gallon of tap water to whatever you've already been drinking. If you've been drinking a gallon, which was usually typical of what we were all doing, then now you're up to 1.5 gallons. Okay, every day thereafter, you add 1/4 gallon to it. Okay? Until you get, so each day progressively add another 1/4 gallon of water. Doesn't matter how the fuck much up, how much you get to, that's what you have to drink. And the whole purpose is to shut off aldosterone, the water storing hormone. The reason you're not dead right now and dehydrated is because your body produces aldosterone. It causes you to retain water. As a bodybuilder, we don't want it. You got to shut it the fuck off. How do you do it? Well, you just overdrink. That's how you do it. When the body senses there's too much water in the system, it shuts aldosterone off, which is the water storing hormone. It is now off, which means you can eliminate as much fucking water out of your body as you want to. You could damn near kill yourself because the hormone is shut off. There's a trick to turning it back on. Okay, there's also the trick to turning it off is just excessively drinking water, which is what we're doing. Leading up to 7 days out, you're drinking all this fucking water, you're adding the 1/4 gallon, add another 1/4 gallon. You're drinking so much fucking water. You're pissing every 10 fucking minutes, man. You're running to the fucking bathroom. It's like, holy shit, I can't drink any more water. You do that till you get to Friday. Aldosterone is now shut the fuck off. Friday, you convert from tap water to distilled water. Okay, let's stop there. When you start 7 days out drinking your excessive water, you are also sodium loading. You're adding salt to all your food. I was taught not to measure the salt, but measure the potassium. You're also going to potassium load, but you don't want to go too heavy on the potassium. We were taking 200 milligram potassium pills back in the day. And I believe, I might be mistaken, but I believe it was get up to 600 mgs of potassium, and that was your cutoff point. That was it. Don't go over, because you could start getting erratic heartbeats. You could stop your fucking heart with potassium. Potassium is dangerous. So you have to watch the amount of intake on the potassium, but not the sodium. We were just salting all our food. That's how you continue to progressively increase sodium. Is you salt your food. Salt your every fucking meal. You're just adding 3 or 4 shakes of salt to it. So now you get to Friday. This is when you move over to distilled water. Back in the 80s, distilled water was found in the laundry detergent. It was right next to the laundry detergent. Today there's bottled water and shit, so I believe it'll be found over by the bottled water. But if it's not, it'll be by the laundry detergent. Distilled fucking water. You can drink a gallon of it and you're still gonna be thirsty. You drink this shit, it is dry water. You ever have dry fucking water? Drink distilled water. It's dry fucking water. You're drinking it, you don't even feel like you're drinking anything. It sucks the living fucking life out of you. The death face you get off of distilled water, you will never be able to fucking duplicate with spring water. I'm just telling y'all right the fuck now. I've done it. I've seen it. I've been around all these bodybuilders that have used the distilled water tactic, and the death face and the dryness and the crisp muscle, it is fucking insane. I honestly think it's the better technique. There's this new technique going around today. Better technique in my mind was the distilled water. So now you're drinking, I was taught to drink 1.5 gallons of distilled water, and you cut that off at 6 o'clock Friday. From 6 o'clock to midnight, if you're thirsty, which you're going to be, you're drinking vodka, or you could drink rum, okay? It would be good to actually pour yourself a few shots, even if you're not thirsty, and drink the vodka and the rum. That's going to be from 6 o'clock to midnight. I've coached guys like Jeffrey Smith, guys like Chase Cash. I actually use this method on them. I was getting Jeffrey Smith fucking drunk as a motherfucker on Friday, and he'd come in beautiful. It worked. It always fucking worked. Okay, so now the morning of the show, of course, you know you can't drink anything, okay? There was no fucking liquid the morning of the show. But right before you step on stage, you mix a cocktail. Now you're gonna be so fucking dry Saturday. I mean, your face is gonna be just pulled in. Your skin is gonna be fucking tight. You're just gonna look like a dried up fucking raisin. Rope. Right before you walk out on stage, as long as everything worked and you are just dry as a fucking raisin, you mix a cocktail of vodka and grape juice. And typically that would be about 6 ounces of vodka and grape juice. And as they're lining all the bodybuilders up, and you know you are within just a couple minutes of going out on stage, you then finish this off, this whole fucking water depletion, with the vodka and the grape juice. You chug that fucking shit right before you get out on stage. This is what I was taught, and it works. I've had bodybuilders do it. What happens when you chug the vodka and the grape juice? You get out on stage, first of all, you're relaxed as fuck. You feel fucking amazing. You just want to go toe to toe with everybody. It's a no holds barred kind of feeling you have, okay? The nerves are just gone with the vodka, if you're nervous. Also, the vascularity is absolutely retarded when you drop the fucking grape juice. The vodka brings out vascularity too as well. But the grape juice, just every capillary in your chest, your shoulders, your biceps, all the way down into your fucking legs. If you've done everything else right up until this point, and you pop the vodka grape juice trick, you will be the most vascular motherfucker on that stage. Swear to God, you will be the most vascular motherfucker on that stage. Now, I'm not going to go over the carb loading, because obviously from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you might start your carb load, which really doesn't interfere with what you're doing with your salt load and your water loading. You know, that's all done parallel to your carb loading. The that was the trick. Friday, no salt though. The reason we drank distilled water was because Friday you cut all your salt out. All of it, man. You are not to take in any fucking sodium. We were even boiling our chicken back in the day. If you're eating chicken that day, you have to boil your chicken and get the salt out of the fucking chicken. But the following day, you bring salt back. Okay? After the water's already completely pulled out of your fucking system, the following day, you reintroduce salt. And this is how you blow the fuck up, by reintroducing the sodium. On Saturday morning, prior to stepping out on stage, you get your ass up at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning, and you would have salty bacon, you would have salty, morning sausage, you would have eggs, and you would salt your eggs. We would have toast with tons of fucking butter on the toast. Okay, this is how we carb load. Back in like the 80s, we didn't do the burger and fry like everybody does today. Nobody told me anything about eating a hamburger and fucking French fries, and I was coached by a ton of fucking people back in the 80s and 90s. Nobody was doing that. That may have come about, I think, later in the 90s. Maybe like 96, 97, 98, guys started experimenting with the burger and the fry, but prior to that, you were eating in the morning a lot of buttered toast, eggs, you're salting all of your shit. It's pretty basic. Basically, that's what it was. But anyhow, there is a little tip, insight to what was going down in the 80s and the 90s with distilled water. But anyhow, watch the video of me and Dave Palumbo and Walt Debs as me and Dave go back and forth with the distilled water trick. Coming out this week, I guess. All right, y'all. Peace.